Okay, it's April 24th, 2022. Parker Coleman will be reviewing the MLB games from April 23rd, 2022. Without further ado, Parker Coleman.
Sorry for the other 2 days off. We got very unexpectedly busy, and if this was an actual job I was doing, I would have made the best of my abilities to get it done. But I'm going to try and go this whole week doing everything. The Sunday games are hard because they all happen at once, whereas the other games, there's usually some in the day, some in the afternoon. But I do want to try my best to do as many recaps as possible because I enjoy it, even if nobody's watching. This is going to be a very controversial episode. I remember I said that the other 2 days, but there are some things to talk about. This might be one of the most conversational episodes that I have with Dad. But first game that's not very interesting is the Giants and the Nationals. And this is because the Nationals aren't very good necessarily. Whenever Nelson Cruz signed there, he said something like the Nationals were going to make moves to make the team better and compete for wild cards. Bro, I'm not seeing it. And Yastrzemski in the top of the first would single. He would score on a single by Peterson and Belt. So 3 singles, 1 run. Flores doubles, Estrada singles, 2 are on, and Luis Gonzalez, not the Diamondbacks one, hits sac fly. This is the one on the Giants. RBI single for Casali as he scores Estrada. Slater singles, Belt is hit. Ruff reaches on an RBI, fielder's choice. Later, Peterson hits an RBI single. Just like that, it's 5-0. And there's something I didn't get to talk about yesterday. It was that in the 7-1 victory that they had on Friday, Davey Martinez was upset that the Giants tried to score a run in the 9th inning. And I'll say this is that it's not a bad thing to try and score more runs. And I know it seems like you're trying to pile on your opponent, but first of all, you shouldn't be so sensitive that them trying to win hurts your feelings. I know they're up by 6 runs, but I mean, you and I saw a 5-run rally with the Astros and the Yankees last year. And with Chad Green pitching, who knows if that could have been more. So it is something that happens, and maybe if that ever happens to your team, you might think, wow, maybe if we tried to score more in the 9th inning when we thought the game was done with. Riley Adams with homer, making it 5-1. He get the Nats on the board. In the bottom of the 5th, Robles would also double RBI single for Thomas. That would be it as the Nats lose the series to the Giants and lose the game 5-2. Alex Wood went 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts, a walk. Peterson 2 for 4th in RBI. Crawford 1 for 4th in RBI. 5 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for the Giants. 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Nationals. So this is the game that everyone's talking about, and it's not because it's kind of sad, really, because as someone who really likes good baseball games, this would have been a really, really fun game to talk about. Because of some losers, it's not going to be a fun game to talk about. It's Guardians-Yankees, and we know how this is going to go down. Everyone will say the Yankees were in the wrong, except for Yankees fans. Well, and I don't dislike you if you're a Yankees fan. I don't dislike you because you're a Yankees fan. If anyone thinks that, I mean, I dislike people who think that this was okay. And it's a good thing to explain why Straw was climbing on the outfield wall. And I'll get to that in the 9th, once I get to the 9th inning. And then you can say what you were going to say. Don't forget it, please.
Too late.
This scoreless for 4 innings. Rosario walks and Naylor hits a home run in the top of the 5th. Josh Naylor looked really good yesterday. And the Guardians need that. They actually have the highest WRC plus in baseball right now as a team. I could not pick that, although it might be because of the decrease in offense. That's another thing we're going to talk about. And it's just kind of surprising to see that the Guardians, a team that have always struggled offensively, have gone so much higher while every other team seems to struggle. And I think Ernie Clement and Owen Miller have looked very, very good as well. I mean, of course, along with Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez, but that's kind of just unspoken. Hicks would walk. Gallo would single to put 2 on. Connor Floffa's RBI single would make it 2-1. Higashioka would hit a sac fly to tie. Kyle Higashioka is a pretty solid catcher also. And the bottom of the zone, Donaldson homers for the lead. I saw he's hitting 196. So besides this homer and I guess the walk-off single on opening day, there hasn't been a whole lot going on for Josh Donaldson. I do feel like I haven't heard him as much whenever I do these recaps. The bottom of the 9th, top of the 8th, Naylor singles, Hedges homers. It's now a Guardians lead. So this is a good game. I mean, and again, if this wasn't such a controversial topic, this would be like a really, really fun game to watch and write about. So now the Guardians lead, but in the bottom of the 9th, the Yankees would retake the lead. Locastro, after Donaldson walks, Locastro would pinch hit for him. Connor Fluffa ties it on a double to center field. Steven Kwan hits the hits the wall hard, and it wasn't like it was a padded wall. It was like a fence. It was like a really, really tough wall. It wasn't like the Astros padded walls. And this fan, he's celebrating that Stephen Kwan's injured. Not that kind of fluff that just hit a game-tying double, but because Kwan is injured. And, I mean, that's just a messed up thing to do in general if it wasn't a athlete. Kwan has a lot of potential. It's really, really just upsetting. Some people claim that I threw a racial slur at him. There's nothing to really prove that. I mean, there are people who said that they were there and that happened. There are people who said that they weren't there and that happened. I'm not going to try and ruin. I mean, even I think that guy's a scumbag, but I don't want to try and ruin his life if that never happened. If you know what I'm talking about. But even then, he should still be punished if he's such a schlemiel that he thinks it's okay to heckle an injured player. And that's why Straw jumped up. Because it wasn't like Straw had a problem with him being heckled or anything like that. He wasn't talking crap to the fans. He was telling, hey, shut your mouth. The fans are disgusting as usual. Some guy's filming him, and for some reason that angle hasn't come out because that would be very interesting. There's a guy doing the V sign, if you know what that means, and which is very ironic because he's hiding behind the safety of two other fans. So maybe he's the one who's really like that. And why would Straw be I'll use a different word here, putz? Why would he be the putz here if he's the one who's confronting these fans? You know what I mean? And I mean, those guys backed up immediately. Those guys were all talking, no action. It was just very, very, it's just such a bad look for Yankees fans. Straw was not going up there to talk trash to the fans, and he was not going up there to try and goad the fans on. Even if he was, it's still not good about what happens next, especially since what happened really wasn't just to Straw. But it's a horrible look for Yankees fans. And I think that I don't approve of players necessarily going in the stands, but I do think that if there's a scumbag who's making fun of players getting injured, there needs to be a player that stands up to him. There needs to be someone to say, like, hey, that's not a good thing to do. I know you're drunk, but you should still be held accountable for your actions. What do you think? First of all, I'll tell you what you think about this, and then we'll talk about the end of the game.
Well, do we know he was drunk or just a jerk?
Well, I don't know. I'm assuming he's drunk.
Yeah, it's not a bad assumption. You and I have been around Yankee fans enough to know that that's a fair assumption. Mm-hmm. And even if he's not drunk, they have a tendency to be loud and obnoxious. We know that. I will say this, though. Those fans, just like college football, when you see 10 fans on Twitter or whatever being obnoxious and racist and whatever, that doesn't represent the whole fan base. It doesn't look good, but it doesn't represent the whole fan base. Casey's a Yankees fan. Perfectly nice guy.
Yes, I don't think that all Yankees fans are bad. That's why I wanted to put a disclaimer before this, is that if you're watching this and you're a Yankees fan, I don't think you're bad because you're a Yankees fan. I think in general, Yankees fans have a bigger tendency to be toxic than other fan bases.
I would agree with that.
I think that that's a fair assumption. I think that 29 out of 30 fan bases would agree with that.
And I think our experience in person is that they actually embrace that. Right?
Yes,
they want to be known.
They like being jerks, if that makes sense.
They want to be known as jerks.
Because the people who were we've been around Yankees fans a lot. We went to Tampa Bay and we saw a Yankees game playing the Tampa Bay Rays, and we left early because the game was going on for like 5 hours, and it was like
we had a 100-mile drive.
Yes, it was like It was 11 o'clock at night. We didn't want to get home at like 2 in the morning or anything like that. But man, those were just they're just unpleasant people. It felt like they didn't even enjoy baseball because they were heckling not just the Rays players but the Yankees players, and they couldn't find a single. I don't think they said a single good thing about anything. And there were kids in front of us. I'm pretty sure they were cursing. I hope the kids didn't pick up on it, but the kids were picking up on other things they were saying. That wasn't curse words. But the point is that they need to be more self-aware, in my opinion. And I mean, we've been to 4 Astros games with Yankees fans, and the Yankees fans in the one in 2021 weren't that bad. But I do remember in 2017 there were these obnoxious, rowdy jerks who would just stand up in front of people just so they couldn't see. And they would curse a lot next to kids, and it was like they have some class. And I'm not saying that my fan base is the best fan base. Nothing's ever happened. I know there's been incidents with Astros fans. There's been incidents with every other fan base. Every fan base has their warts, but I feel like it consistently happens more with the Yankees. That's, I'm sure, how most other fans feel. And also the people who are defending what happens next are just as bad because it shows you that they're like, it's okay to throw trash on the field or whatever. Spoiler alert. But don't defend it, and I hope this isn't a controversial statement. But to be fair, I don't think I want to be liked by people who think that that's okay. So, I mean, if you don't like it, feel free to dislike the video. I mean, it's not going to do a whole lot to me. All it shows is that you dislike it because I'm calling you out on your BS. But anyways, Torres would hit a walk-off single, and the Guardians are pelted with debris. You were questioning me about Oscar Mercado catching the full beer. I saw a video of that. It was a great snag by him. And Trevor Stephon got hit by an ice cream cone. And it's just a horrible look. There were kids who were scared. From what I saw, this dad had to protect his 12-year-old daughter from getting hit. It was just not a good look. And it doesn't matter if you're drunk. You should be like, I mean, my dad's gotten drunk at a baseball game, and he's never, ever made fun of a player getting injured or throwing trash on the field. It's actually nice when he's drunk. He's not a mean drunk at all.
Nice.
But, yeah, I mean, I've been around drunk fans all the time, and it's crazy. And it's a horrible look. And Straw said what I feel like every other fan base or player feels like, is that they're the worst fan base in baseball. And that's stereotypical. If you're a Yankees fan, you're not bad. I feel the same way. I have some friends here this is basketball, but I have some friends in Texas that are Lakers fans. They are very big bandwagons. They became Lakers fans in 2020, but they're good people, and they're not bad people. I would say that people agree that the Lakers fans are toxic too. Just because someone says a fan base is toxic doesn't mean that you as a person is toxic. And maybe some people mean it when they say that, but I don't mean it if I say Yankees fans are toxic. And if that means you're a Yankees fan, then I'm not saying you personally are toxic. I'm saying there's been so many instances. I'm pretty sure Alex Verdugo, somebody threw a baseball at Alex Verdugo last year. It was a crazy game. It was like a rained out game. That was what everyone was talking about, Verdugo getting a ball thrown at him by a fan. And there's been so many incidents, and that's why people generally say that Yankees fans are more toxic. And if I'm not feeling bad for Straw or Quan or anyone else, I feel bad for Torres because he had a great hit. He came ready, and that it was a very admirable hit because he pinch hit, and he doesn't really get to celebrate his walkout victory. And Judge and Stanton were calming the fans down, trying to tell them, hey, stop. But a lot of decent people aren't defending this, and that's what's right. John Boy, he's a Yankees fan. He's not defending it at all, which is good. It's just I think anybody with knowledge of how players are human as well. Straw didn't have a problem with anyone heckling them. Mercado didn't have a problem. They just thought that guy was a POS for making fun of Quan, who was injured. And, I mean, yeah, he kind of is. Especially that's just such a weak thing to do in general, is make fun of someone who's injured who can't fight back. But also because you don't want anyone to get injured. And I think that there needs to be some rules set in place where, I think that those fans should probably be banned for life. And I don't think that's a hot take. I think those people, they need to be in trouble because they are definitely the ones who started the confrontation. I think that if they never make fun of them, Straw, we know him from Houston. He's a mild-mannered guy. I think that's good, right? Okay. I didn't want to accidentally describe him in a bad light. He's a great guy. He's very nice. He was a clubhouse favorite. And I don't think he goes into there if he's not. And that was another thing. There's this guy on Twitter. He was verified. He was saying a player shouldn't also go into the stands or whatever. Well, I mean, he definitely deserves to be able to stand up for someone who's making fun of his injured teammate. That doesn't mean that what he did was necessarily going to calm the situation down, but sometimes there need to be people in the fans of the ball game, especially in Yankees games, that they need to say, hey, STFU, it's not good what you're saying or doing. That's what needs to happen. Miles Straw, I'd say that he didn't do anything wrong. If it was just someone heckling him, I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous, especially since you get paid millions of dollars a year. But if you're making fun of someone who's injured, I definitely understand. I feel like I would want to do the same thing. Straw, he was also very ballsy to do that with Yankees fans because Yankees fans are just going to endlessly troll him because that's just kind of who they are. But it did show how good of a team the Guardians are and how tight they are. Torres was the first start. He was 1 for 1 with an RBI. Donaldson was 1 for 2 with 2 walks and 2 RBIs. And a home run. I forgot to write that down. I was kind of ragging on Donaldson during this recap, but I mean, yeah, it was the second start of the game. Naylor was 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a home run. He looked good, as I said. 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Guardians. 5 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Yankees. Okay, here's some good stuff to talk about. Miguel Cabrera, 3,000th hit. Tigers look pretty good offensively. First game of a doubleheader. This game got rained out on Friday. Grossman singles, and then Cabrera gets his 3,000th hit. Scope has an RBI single, and Torkelson hits a 3-run homer. So great inning for the Tigers. They see their past, get their 3,000th hit, and their present, or their future, I should say, hit a home run. The bottom of the fourth, Castro, Barnhart, and Grossman all single for another run. Castro doubles, RBI single for Badu. Grossman singles, Meadows walks. 2 RBI single for Cabrera. RBI single for Candelario. It's 9-0 all of a sudden. That wasn't in a full inning, I'll say. That was in the 4th and the 6th. I just had them combined. The 3 singles happened in the 4th. Castro doubling, RBI single for Badu, and all of that happened in the 6th. So, my bad there. In the bottom of 7th, Torkelson and Castro single. Grossman walks. 2 RBI single for Austin Meadows. Haas singles loading the bases. Candelario walks with the bases loaded. Lastly, Scope hits an RBI single. Tigers dominate, win 13-0 the first game. What do you think about Miguel Cabrera? Do you have any? I don't know if you're a fan of.
A long time ago, your mom and I have been married 18 years, and we remember Miguel Cabrera coming up with the Marlins, I believe, when he was like 19 or 20 years old. That's what I remember about Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah. So he hasn't been a fan. He didn't really after the 2003 season where my mom was rooting for the Marlins to win the World Series. He wasn't really a fan until I became a fan in around like 2015 or so. So yeah, I was curious if you had any thoughts about him. He's a great player, locked for Hall of Fame, unless he got busted for PEDs that I forgot about. I don't think he did. Seems like a good guy. Skubal went 6 innings, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts. He was the first star. Torkelson was 2 for 5 with a home run and 3 RBIs. He was the second star. Hideo Castro was 4 for 5 with a double. He was the third star. Cabrera sadly couldn't make the stars list on his 3,000th hit. But I mean, I think he might because he seems like he cares about winning more than being a star. No runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Rockies. 13 runs, 20 hits, no errors for the Tigers. That wasn't the smallest blowout here. Here's a crazy stat: the Cubs have more 20-point/run shutout wins than the Bears do in their last 30 years. I like to say. So this is a lot, and I'll forgive you if you skip past this part, but I'm going to talk about it. In the bottom of the first, 3 singles by Suzuki. Contreras half score run. Okay, it's 1-0. Zach Thompson probably thinking, hey, it's not too bad right now. The wheels just fall off. 4 singles for Horner, Ortega, Suzuki, and Contreras. That's for 3 runs. Newman makes an error. Wisdom walks to load the bases. Newman makes another error, scoring Hap. Rivas homers. Just like that, it's 9-0, and the Pirates fans probably turned off the TV in the second inning. In the bottom of the 4th, Wisdom walks. Hayward is hit. RBI single for Alfonso Rivas. Horner gets an RBI ground out. It's 11-0. Bottom of the 5th, Suzuki, Contreras, Hap all double for 2 runs. Villar singles. Hayward doubles for an RBI. Rivas and Horner both have RBI singles. It's 16-0. But wait, there's more. In the bottom of the 8th, Michael Hermosillo singles. Contreras walks. Hap singles. RBI single for Wisdom and VR. RBI ground out for Hayward. Cubs win 21-0 in football score. Alfonso Rivas was the first star. He was 3 for 5 with 5 RBIs and a home run. Hendricks was the second star. 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, no walks. I mean, he only needed 1 run to be fair, but still. Wilson Contreras was 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a double. No runs, 3 hits, 2 errors for the Pirates. 21 runs, 23 hits, no errors for the Cubs. Most amount of runs scored this season. And if you looked at that game, you wouldn't think the scoring is down. But we're going to talk about the scoring being down in a little bit. Twins, White Sox. The White Sox are struggling. Eloy Jimenez is out for 6 to 8 weeks. He was injured yesterday, I believe. And that's a big blow for the White Sox. They have so many injuries, and I feel really bad for the fans because they've been waiting for a while. I mean, some of the players, they've rubbed me the wrong way, but I still don't want anyone to get injured. I kind of root for them to lose sometimes, but I don't want anyone to be injured. And I do feel kind of bad for the fans because they've been waiting so long for a contender. They had like 12 years without making the playoffs. And I mean, the season's not over yet. I don't want to make it sound like that, but the White Sox, they look like they're in a bit of trouble. They're not playing as well as they did last year with all those injuries. And I mean, even though I kind of root against them, I hope that I hope Eloy Jimenez especially, he's one of my favorite players in the White Sox, along with Luis Robert. I hope they could come back healthier, stronger. Robert's not injured. Well, yeah, he is injured. I think he's on the 10-day IL. I don't think this was that serious. But yeah, Eloy Jimenez is injured. I hope both of them could come back stronger, better. There are some other players that kind of rub me the wrong way. But other than that, I hope they're doing okay. But I am kind of rooting for the White Sox to lose some more. Buxton and Arraez single, Correa walks. Polanco's fielder's choice makes it 1-0. Then in the bottom of the second, 2 more run scores. 2 doubles for Jeffers and Buxton score a run. Arraez's RBI single make it 3-0. Jeffers homers making it 4-0. 5-0 after Buxton homers. Correa and Kepler walk. Polanco singles with the bases loaded. Larnack with a 2 RBI single. It's 7-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Jeffers walks. Buxton is hit. Arraez's RBI single make it 8-0. Abreu homers 8-1. He had the only 2 RBIs for the White Sox this game. 3 straight singles by Gordon, Arraez, Buxton make it 9-1. In the top of the 4th, Mendick walks. Vaughn doubles. Sac fly for Abreu. RBI ground out, excuse me. But it's 9-2, the final score. Twins, they're looking a little better. I'll say that. I was kind of ragging on them in one of the games I missed. They won 1-0 over the Royals, and Joe Ryan pitched a heck of a game. Joe Ryan, I think if he can continue this, he could be a top 3 pitcher in the American League soon. Bold claim, but I see it happening. Especially since most of the great pitchers like Scherzer and DeGrom and Kershaw and Buehler and Burns and whoever else, they're all in the National League. So there's a little less competition pitching-wise in the American League. Bundy went 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks. He was the first star. Arraez was 4 for 5 with 3 RBIs. He was the second star. Buxton was 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs and home run. He was the third star. 2 4-hit games for the Twins. 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the White Sox. 9 runs, 14 hits, no errors for the Twins. Brewers, Phillies. This game kind of just happened, like all at once. First, it looked all Phillies for a third of it, and then the rest of it looked all Brewers. Harper and Castellanos doubles for 1-0 lead. Herrera triple, scores on a Segura single. Hoskins walks. Castellanos sac fly. And scores after Segura steals third. It's 3-0. In the top of the 5th, that's when everything kind of just falls apart for the Phillies. Renfroe doubles, 2 singles by Kane and Peterson make it 3-1. Adames and Yelich both hit RBI singles back to back. It's 3-3. And then Adames steals home for the lead. It's 4-3. In the top of the 6th, Renfroe hits a solo shot, making it 5-3. The Brewers beat the Phillies 5-3. They're 9-6. Phillies are 6-9. Renfroe's 3 for 4 with a home run, 2 double RBI. Adames goes 2 for 4 with an RBI and a steal at home that gave them the lead. Hauser, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 strikeouts, a walk. 5 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Brewers. 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Phillies. Now here we get to the low-scoring games that make the case that something's different with baseball. Some people are making guesses on why this is. Some people are saying that Rob Manfred killed the baseball because there's less runs. Some people, because it's even less than the start of 2021. Some people are saying it's because the humidifier that the Rockies use are now at every team, making the ball fly flawless. Some people are saying spring training. Some people are saying there's so many different relief pitchers with the expanded roster that they're not as used to it. What do you think about that?
I think their relief pitchers doesn't make sense because they're not as good, because there's 2 guys in every team that wouldn't be on that team, right? So they're probably not as good in general. I think the other things make more sense. The humidifiers in all the parks make sense. They've been known to change the baseball. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so I would say that's less likely an option. I would say shortened spring training, but we've also seen how that affects the pitchers.
Yeah, the pitchers
can't throw strikes and can't pitch more than outside of Justin Verlander before today. I think the Astros starters had averaged 3 2/3 innings. So.
Yeah, but that's also pitcher is not that good of a pitcher. But I do get your point. I do get your point that it's a
no, the whole staff besides Verlander, not just one guy. That's Urquidy, that's Framber, that's Odorizzi.
Odorizzi's 2 1/3 innings probably took their average out.
Framber's, it is.
bent his like 3 whatever.
Framber pitched 3 innings one time. Garcia pitched 4 and then 4 and a third. You get my point.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So I think there's probably a lot of reasons for it, but I would expect scoring to be up. But
yeah,
who knows?
I mean, I don't want to. I'm not saying that Manfred toured with the baseball, but at this point, if he did, I don't think I would be surprised.
Agreed.
But this is the first game I'm talking about because this is just such a low-scoring game. Because of all these, we did get probably one of the weirdest games in baseball history. I'm excited to talk about that one with you. But first thing on this, I put a note to ask you about the dead ball. Martin Perez. I'm having a hard because it's not Perez. It's Perez. I'm trying not to say it with an accent, but it ends up me saying like Perez or something like that. It's Perez. It's weird because he doesn't say it Perez. But he had a 6.75 ERA coming into this game. He threw 6 scoreless innings against the A's. It's down to 3.86, so he basically cut it in half. Frankie Montas had a great outing as well. He went into the 8th, but that's when trouble hit. Garcia and Willie Calhoun both single. Miller hits a 2 RBI single to score the only runs of the game. The A's lose the series to the Rangers, and the Rangers have won 3 in a row. Just like the Twins, they have looked a little bit better. The Rangers would win 2-0. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Rangers. 0 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for the A's. I have to say 3 stars, so it's going to be kind of weird to do this last. Martin Perez, he went 6 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, a walk. 7 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, a walk for Frankie Montas. Miller was obviously the third star. He was 1 for 4, 2 RBIs. He had the only RBIs of the game. This is a low-scoring game, too. Astros, Blue Jays. All the scoring besides 2 runs happened in the first. Springwood homer to lead off. He has 80 home runs in Minute Maid Park. He ties Craig Biggio for the 4th most. And the Astros color guy, John Blum, he said what I said about the Freddie Freeman home run against the Dodgers, is that baseball gods, if there are baseball gods, they sure have a sense of humor. He didn't say those words. I'm paraphrasing, but still basically what I said. Brantley singles on the bottom of the first. Bregman homers, making it 2-1. Urquidy and Manoah settle in. They end up pitching pretty well. Urquidy reaches trouble in the 6th. Bichette and Guerrero both single. Probably one of the shortest sac flies we're going to see all season happens. As the balls hit to Pena and Goodrum, like in the middle, and they collide, they catch the ball. But since they're both down on the ground, they don't have enough time to get up, and Bichette sees the opportunity and scores. That is one of the unlucky things that have been happening to the Astros. Some examples are that, like, Tucker, before his 3-hit game yesterday, he was, like, dead last in BABIP. He also has, like, an 80-point difference between – or, like, a 100-point difference between his maybe it's even more. It could be, like, 150. Maybe a little less after today. But, like, yesterday, he had, like, an 150-point difference between his batting average and expected batting average. And his slugging, his expected slugging is the highest his expected slugging has been in his entire career. Brantley's not playing too poorly, but he's also a victim of bad luck, as we saw on the broadcast. And Alvarez, even though he hasn't hit the ball super well, apparently he's been unlucky too. So that's just the Astros have been playing into some poor luck. They have had some really bad offensive stretches, and I've been guilty of being frustrated with this as well. But it's tied. Blake Taylor comes in and gives a home run to Espinal. Another smart thing that Blunner said was that he entered this series, Santiago Espinal was leaving Roberto Alomar Jr. because some of the plays he made at short, or I should say second base, some of the plays he made at second base were amazing, and he hit the cover off the ball. So in the bottom of the 9th, Tucker singles, 3 for 4. And if you want an interesting story, is that he added batting gloves, and he's 3 for 4. He apparently wore batting gloves for, according to Michael Schwab, he wore batting gloves for 21 different plate appearances in his career before this, and he was 4 for 21. So I guess 3 for 4, that worked. Tucker probably feels really good because he's been hitting the ball really, really hard, and the results haven't shown up. However, speaking of bad luck, Aledmys Diaz comes on pinch hit, and he lines out to Vlad Guerrero Jr. Tucker's off on contact, so he basically has no chance of getting back to first base on time, and the Astros lose a 1-run game, 3-2. If that ball gets past Guerrero, then they probably, maybe, who knows, it goes down the line. Maybe Tucker scores. Maybe they're second and third with 1 out. That would be an easy way to score the runner. Heck, maybe even get a single to drive in and win the game. But the Astros 2-7 in their last 9. They lose 3-2. Espinal is the first star because he had the big home run, 1 for 4 home run RBI. Manoah kind of struggled in the beginning, but he did settle in well enough to get the second start. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts. Springer's 1-4 with a home run RBI first game back in Minute Maid Park. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Blue Jays. 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Astros. So, I'm not sure what happened in the game today, but I guess jinxing powers are a thing because the Reds lost yesterday. And what I decided to do was make a list of their longest losing streaks. I actually did some research for this. And I'm pretty sure their losing streak got snapped today, if I'm not mistaken. They're playing the Cardinals. Cardinals win this game. They win the series. Bader in the top of the second. Bader and DeYoung walk. Kisner's RBI single makes it 1-0. Another run scored as Edmund walks a single from Dickerson. After a Carlson single makes it 2-0. Kisner doubles. Kisner had a good game. Edmund would be hit. 2 are on. Goldschmidt drives on both of them with a double. At the top of the 8th, Bader and Kisner walk. The last run scores on the Edmund RBI single. Cardinals win 5-0 or 9-4. The Reds are 2-13. So man, it's just. I mean, I remember when they were 2-2, and I was like, wow, the Reds are 2-2 against the defending World Series champions. It's probably isn't going to last long, but it's cool that it's happening. But it didn't end up lasting long at all. Here are the Reds' longest losing streaks. 11 games. They reached 11 games in 1966, 1998, and 2016. So actually pretty recently. I do remember in 2016, one of my first years being a fan, I remember the Reds were really, really bad. 12 games, they had a 12-game losing streak in 1993. And a 13-game losing streak 3 different times, 1930, 1945, and 2015. And then the 16 games, 1937. I'm pretty sure they were the Redlegs one of those years. One of these years on the losing streak. Maybe it was 45. And then their longest losing streak ever is 19 games in 1914. So I thought it'd be fun to do some research on that, especially since I was originally planning to do one, but I wanted to see how many losing streaks I could find, and these are all that I could find. Maybe there are a few more. I'm not sure. Yeah, the Cardinals beat the Reds 5-0. Hudson 6 2/3, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks. He was really good. 2 for 5, 2 RBIs, and a double. Goldschmidt was the second star. Kisner was 2 for 3 with a double, walk, RBIs, third star. 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the Cardinals. 0 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Reds. Okay, this might be one of the weirdest games in baseball history. So, it's not naturally weird because, again, the balls might have been toyed with, might be the humidifier, might be spring training. And also the extra inning rule. That's also why it was so weird. But the Rays combined to no-hit the Red Sox through 9 innings. However, they can't score a run, so we go to the 10th. And, of course, the first hit comes in the 10th as Bobby Dahlbeck triples. First hit of the game, that scores the runner. I forgot who the runner is. It was probably Jackie Bradley Jr. because he's the guy batting ahead of Dahlbeck. Then Vasquez hits a sac fly. It's 2-0 Sox. I am pretty sure. Let's check. Yeah. So this might be one of the worst offensive games in a while because the Rays only had 2 hits entering the 10th inning too. So it's not like they had a bunch of hits and they couldn't do anything with them. No hits for the Red Sox entering the 10th. 2 hits for the Rays entering the 10th. And then after 2 strikeouts, the Sox are 1 strike away from winning. However, Wallace hits a ball. Hey, that rhymes. Wallace hits a ball to Story. He makes a throwing error, and it's 2-1. They were 1 strike away from winning. But they can still win, or Kevin Kiermaier, he hits a walk-off home run. And it's just a really odd game. And the final score is 3-2. The Rays would win in walk-off fashion. Kiermaier was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs, home run, walk. Dahlbeck 1 for 4. Triple RBI. Whitlock went 4 innings, gave up 1 hit, 7 strikeouts, no walks. For a starter, I don't like to give them to guys who didn't go more than 5 innings, but Garrett Whitlock was awesome yesterday. Like I said, 1 hit, 7 strikeouts, no walks. He looked very, very good. 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error for the Red Sox. 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for the Rays. Another low scoring game. It's kind of weird. There's some pretty average scoring games, and then we just hit the stretch where it's. Let me check. We hit the stretch after the Brewers-Phillies game where it's 2-0, 3-2, 5-0, 3-2, 3-2.
You also had a team score 21-13.
Yes. But we just had a stretch of easy games to recap. And
of course, on the other end of those 21-13 were 0-0.
But we also do have 2 tough to recap games coming up. Rockies, Tigers. Second game of the doubleheader. Connor Joe welcomed his boat. I don't know how to say his name. I want to say it's Brisky. It doesn't sound like it would be a last name, but maybe. It's Brieske. I'm gonna say Brisky until someone corrects me or until I hear it on the Tigers Network. Joe welcomes Brisky with a homer. Leadoff homer for Connor Joe. Connor Joe is still playing pretty well. Alan Trejo singles on the top of the third. Blackman homers 3-0. 6 good innings for Gomber. As it's 3-0, we go to the bottom of the ninth. Candelario singles and Grossman walks. And then Meadows triples. So the tying runs on third with 2 outs. However, Willie Castro, he strikes out. And the Tigers try to rally in the top and the bottom of the ninth. It didn't end up working. The Rockies split the doubleheader. Rockies are now 9-5, so they're still playing pretty solid baseball. Gomber went 6 innings, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts. First star. Blackman 1 for 4, home run, 2 RBIs. Second star. Meadows was 1 for 2, 2 RBIs, and a triple. His third star, 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Rockies. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Tigers. Okay, this was the first hard game to recap. Marlins and Braves. This was a doozy of a game. Chisholm hits a leadoff homer. Albies hits a leadoff homer. After 1 inning, we're tied at 1. And the bottom of the third, Swanson triples. Albies hit the sac fly. It's 2-1. Soler reaches on an air. Hit it right. And the top of the fourth, Sanchez with double. RBI ground for Abisail Garcia. Tie game. Yarnod singles. Alex Dickerson homers. It's 4-2. In the top of the fifth, Chisholm doubles. Eventually scores on the RBI single. It's 4-3. Who that was off, I don't know because I didn't write it down. It was probably off of Garcia, probably off of Soler, I'd like to say. In the bottom of the fifth, Riley hits a solo shot to make it 5-3. And then in the top of the sixth, this is when they started trading the lead. Wendell singles, steals second. Birdie walks. 2 score on a Chisholm single. Another run scores as Aguilar and Soler single. It's now 6-5. However, in the bottom of the sixth, the Braves would take the lead. As Yarnod doubles, Dickerson walks. Both of them score on an RBI single from Dansby Swanson. So Swanson had a pretty good game last night. It's 7-6 Braves. And then the Marlins retake the lead as Anderson and Birdie walk. Wendell singles to load the bases, and Garrett Cooper has a 2 RBI single for the lead. Sac fly for Aguilar makes it 9-7. The Fish win 9-7. Chisholm was the first star, 4 for 6, 3 RBIs, home run and a double. It's really weird because the other 2 stars are from the Braves, even though they lost. Swanson was 2 for 4, 2 RBIs and a triple. Dickerson was 1 for 3, home run, walk, 2 RBIs. 9 runs, 14 hits, no errors for the Marlins. 7 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the Braves. So we have 4 more games, it looks like. And there were a few easy ones, there were a few hard ones, though. Mets Diamondbacks. I feel like most, obviously, if you're watching this, you like baseball. But I feel like there's always that one game that you just have no interest in, don't care about, and whoever wins or loses, you just don't care about. That's kind of how I felt with the Mets Diamondbacks game. Runners on the corners after Varsho and Peralta single in the bottom of the first. Christian Walker has an RBI fielder's choice, making it 1-0. In the bottom of the second, 4 straight singles for 2 more runs. Alcantara, Kelly, Perdomo, and Varsho have the singles. Fielder's choice for Marte makes it 3-0. In the bottom of the third, Walker doubles, Beer walks, RBI double for Peyton Smith. In the top of the fifth, Dom Smith doubles. He scores on a McNeil triple. So the Mets get around the board. Nito has an RBI single. It's 4-2. In the bottom of the sixth, Perdomo triples and Peralta hits a sac fly. The final score will be 5-2, Diamondbacks over the Mets. Humberto Castellanos, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts, a walk. First star. Dom Smith was 2 for 4, RBI double. Second star. Varsho 2 for 5, RBI. Third star. 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors. So the Mets, 5 runs, 11 hits, 1 error for the Diamondbacks. The Padres and the Dodgers. This has been a pretty solid series so far. And if we're talking about fans throwing things, there was a Padres fan who threw a beer at Cody Bellinger the other night. So, it can happen with any fan base. Bottom of the second, Pro forward double, move on a ground out. Myers hits sac fly. Padres lead. Cronenworth homer, making it 2-0. And at the top of the eighth, the Dodgers would tie it as Taylor and Lux would single. 2 are on as Trey Turner would double to tie the game at 2. We go to the 10th after the Dodgers fail to score in the top half of the inning. Abrams would be on second. He's moved over by a bunt by Grisham. Nola hits a sac fly, and the Padres win 3-0. Snap a 10-game losing streak against them. That happened near the end of the season, back when they were just imploding, if you remember that. when they kept losing and losing in September of last year. That's where most of the losses happened. But they snapped a losing streak. Noah was the first start. He had an RBI sac fly. Darvish went 6 innings, 1 hit, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. He was amazing last night. He usually does well against the Dodgers. He was kind of averaging against every other team last year, so it kind of evened out. Cronenworth went 2 for 3, walk, home run, RBI. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Padres. Okay, so the Orioles just beat the Angels in the series. That's kind of unexpected, but the Orioles do look a lot better than they did last year. At the top of the first, Santander's hit, Mullins walks, RBI single for Mountcastle, sac fly for Odor, it's 2-0. Trout hits a solo home run in the bottom of the first, it's 2-1. Trout hits a solo home run in the bottom of the fifth, it's 2-2. Okay, we're moving. The Halos take the lead after Ward singles, Marsh homered, it's 4-2. But in the top of the seventh, the Orioles retake the lead as Ben Boom singles. Mullins would be hit. An error by Rendon loads the bases. Sac fly for Mancini. Mountcastle has a 2 RBI single for the lead, and those would win 5-4. Mountcastle 2 for 5, 3 RBIs, first star. Trout was 3 for 5 with 2 home runs and 2 RBIs for the second star. Marsh went 1 for 4, home run, 2 RBIs, third star. Again, this is weird because even though the Orioles won, there were 2 stars for the Angels. They're worth the stars, and I'm pretty sure an error wiped out an RBI. So that's sometimes how that can happen. 5 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors for the Orioles. 4 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors for the Angels. So there are 2 errors on each side. This last game was a laugher. And it was just horribly played by both sides until one side could get away. There are a lot of stars in this game, but pitching was not one of them. And it was probably one of the most annoying recaps I had to do because I had to write everything small and to find a way to fit everything in. So it's Chris Bubik versus Matt Brash. At the top of the first, Lopez walks and Merrifield doubles. RBI grounder for Benintendi. Oh, this might be a nice game. Nobody knew what we were in for. As in the bottom of the first, France singles, Crawford homers 2-1. In the bottom of the second, Murphy singles, Kelly drives him in on a single. After more walks, France has an RBI single. It's 4-1. Ty France was amazing last night. And I'm pretty sure he had a 2-home run today, if I'm not mistaken correctly. So France is raking right now. Suarez and Toro double, making it 5-1. However, here's where the bad plays come in. I did not see this play, but it sounds horrible. So Benintendi and Perez singles. Santana walks, bases loaded. Dozier singles, and it claims that in the same play, both Eugenio Suarez and J.P. Crawford made an error. So 2 errors on the same play. I don't know how that's possible. Or like
it could be like a ground ball, and he boots it, and then he tries to throw it, and he throws it, and the first baseman misses it. Or
maybe I did see somebody try and throw it while sitting down, and I think it went into the dugout, but I don't know where the other error went. So I think I did see the play in person if I'm thinking about it, or, well, it can't be another play because the Mariners only have 2 errors on the night. So, yeah, it's just an interesting scenario, but nonetheless, it's 5-4. It's 5-3, I should say. Bobby Wood Jr. single makes it 5-4. France singles, Crawford walks, Suarez is an RBI double, making it 6-4. Perez is hit, Santana homers to tie the game. Dozier and Oliveira single, Royals lead. Wow, the Royals might take the game from Seattle. No, they won't. As in the bottom of the 7th, Julio Rodriguez with single, steals second, scoring a France RBI single. It's tied. In the 8th, 4 walks to Suarez, Murphy, Toro, and J-Rod would load the bases and score a run. So it's 8-7. Maybe the Royals can hold it. No, they can't. 2 RBI double for Winker. Okay, maybe they can make it no, they can't. Maybe they can make it a safe situation. No, they can't do that. Ty France continues his 5-hit night. 13-7 would be the final score. Finally, we're done with this game, as it was just a doozy. France was either the first star, 5 or 6, 5 RBIs, a home run. Winker was second star with that pinch hit double that kind of blew the game open. 1 for 1, double, 2 RBIs. Crawford was 2 for 5, home run, walk, 2 RBIs. He did have the error. 10 hits, no errors for the Royals. 13 runs, 16 hits, 2 errors for the Mariners. Good game for the Mariners. I mean, they scored 13 runs, so it was a good game, but it was just sloppy on both sides. What I'm trying to say. Mariners didn't play bad. I'm not trying to think of anything with them. Those are all the games. That was pretty long and I had fun doing it. And I didn't have as much of a hard time as I thought I would talking about the Guardians and the Yankees. But Any closing thoughts?
Well, that was 44 minutes and 44 seconds of recap. I think about 13 minutes is spent on the Yankees and the Guardians. But that's okay. It's an interesting day. Not, like you said, not the best look, but interesting. So this is about what you find interesting and hopefully what other people find interesting. So that's all right.
I don't think it'll be 45 minutes tomorrow. There are a lot less interesting things that happened today than yesterday.
Except the Astros
They won.
Blue Jays game was pretty darn interesting. We'll get to that tomorrow.
Along with 14 other games.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, Parker Coleman, Marty Coleman, signing off.